All right. The new Exorcist movie is out, baby. And let me tell you, there is a lot of people talking about it. And it is not good. The talk is not good. But do we like it? Well, you'll have to wait till later on in the show to find out what we think about it, as well as a few other scary movies that are out. Joining me right now, we have none other than the limitless Electrasoul. Wow.
What's up?
Back for the Halloween season, because you just have to be, of course.
Of course.
We know you love the spooky season. Now, my question is, so you're in Florida, right? Like, you really don't get a fall over there. You really don't get the fall experience being there, right?
You have no idea. It's literally heat the entire year, bruh.
God.
Like, even when it's cold, it's not cold.
Right. So you don't get like you just have to see it on TV, like the leaves and the breeze and like wearing hoodies and stuff. Like, you don't really get that fall atmosphere, right? So does it ever feel like Halloween?
Bro, in order to have like an actual Halloween, you have to like make it happen. You got to put up decorations. You got to
Go get fake leaves.
Fake autumn leaves on the inside of your house, like that kind of stuff. But if you're making it feel like it, it will feel like it. But if you don't, you're not going to feel it.
Right. Now, what kind of, because to me, I mean, Florida seems like, if you watch the news, just like a big hot haunted house everywhere. It just seems like Florida is a haunted house. But what kind of fall stuff do you get into? What kind of Halloween stuff do you like to get into during the season?
Oh man, if you could see my house right now, it's literally filled up with like every Halloween thing, lights, fake skeletons, scarecrow, like all the stuff.
Hell
It's not too
yeah.
scary, but it's like autumny. It's really nice. So like now we know that it's October because everything is,
Yeah.
October up in a good way.
You
Thank
got it
God.
decked out.
Yeah, definitely.
So
All the
do you
way.
like to do like the haunted house attractions? Do you like to do, I'm sure you don't have pumpkin picking. Well, I guess pumpkin picking would be like outside of the grocery store, right? Like that's pumpkin picking.
Yeah,
Right.
it's not like a real patch. They
Yeah.
do have like, little side things that you can pick from, but it's like you said, it's not like a real pumpkin patch thing. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, as far as everything else, it's really just about what you what you make of it because there's not really like anything to look for here. I know like in other states, like probably where you're at, it's way more known that it's autumn and fall and everything in October.
Yeah. Do you have like haunted house attractions? Is there like parties? Like, what do you like to do personally for
Um,
Halloween season?
Personally, I do like parties. I like Halloween based parties. Obviously, if it's like costume. I
Yeah.
remember one time I went to a party that was literally just like completely Halloweened out on the inside of the house and everyone was dressed up.
Hell
Things like
yeah.
that. I get scared of actual walk-in haunted houses and shit. Like,
Really?
yeah, I do. But I like the one
Wow.
like when you trick or treat, some people like to open their whole house
Like in
to
the
it.
yard and
I,
stuff.
yeah, that's cool. But like the
Wow.
serious ones, I'm too scared of that.
So you'll go and they'll be like, oh, there's a demonic presence in this school. You'll be like, oh yeah, lock me in. Like, we could do that. But a fake one, that's too
Bro,
much for you. You can't do that.
I can't do that because the way I see it is like I can deal with the demon, but I can't deal with the man
I
trying to
don't.
fake me with the fucking chainsaw. Like I
I don't
can't do.
get that. I don't. I'd rather deal with all the fake stuff. It's like, oh yeah, the demon, he pulls your hair, he scratches you. You're like, oh yeah, great, let's go, sign me up. But a fake one, that's too much.
That's it. No, that shit too much to me.
Wow. So you've done them before though.
Yeah, I've done it. I was always terrified, but I did it.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we know that
Very.
you like to do the scary movies, which we're gonna
Yeah.
get into. We're gonna get into that at the end of the show. But one thing I do know about you, because we've had this conversation, one thing we have in common is that we love pumpkin spice. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. I do love pumpkins.
That's
Pumpkins,
right.
all
It is
that
the
stuff.
best. People
Hmm.
hate on people like us, but I don't understand. I don't know how you don't like pumpkin spice. To be honest, it's
It's
one
the
of the
same.
greatest
Yes,
inventions ever.
it
Which
is.
which
And it's
pumpkin
almost
spice thing is your favorite?
sorry, I was just
It's
gonna
okay.
say, no,
Yeah,
it just reminds me of like people who eat what is it, pineapple on pizza? Like
I
I'm
love
one
it.
of those.
I love it. I love it.
Okay, there we go. There we go. Now we know.
That's
But
right.
you asked what my favorite pumpkin spice is?
Yeah, like what is you like the coffee? Do you have one specific favorite pumpkin spice thing?
I think honestly, it's kind of like a little not. like normalized thing, but like a pumpkin spice kind of cake, like
Oh
things like that.
yeah. Oh
Frosting.
yeah. Did you go to if you go to Walmart, they have these pumpkin spice cake bites. Those are pretty banging. I don't know if you
I saw this last week. I'm
you
gonna
did
cop
you
them.
gotta get them. You gotta
I
get
got
them.
it.
I've had pretty much everything pumpkin spice this year. I've had the pumpkin spice Pop Tarts. I've had the pumpkin spice little
Yeah.
bites, the muffins. I mean, I'll go in. I'll go
Yeah.
in. But you
Did
don't
you
do the
get?
coffee, right?
Wait, what'd you say?
You don't do the coffee though, right? You're not a coffee person.
I don't drink coffee, but I did try the ice spice drink. I
Oh,
don't know if you.
really?
Yeah,
What'd you
and
think
it's
of
like
that?
coffee. It's at Dunkin'. They got it at Dunkin'.
Yeah, what
Is
did
that
you
what?
think of it?
Oh, sorry, I can't hear you. I didn't
No,
hear
it's
you.
all good.
What I think about it, I honestly thought it. I thought it was good, but like they put munchkins in it. I don't know if you knew that. They
Yeah,
like blend munchkins, and like to me, low key, I thought it was. I could taste the donut more than the actual drink. I didn't
really.
like that.
What was the
Yeah,
consistency? Was it really thick?
it was like it wasn't really actually. It kind of was because it's like an ice drink. Like I don't know if you've had Dunkin' Donuts, like the
Yeah.
ice lattes. It's like that. It's literally just added with donuts and then a whole bunch of pumpkin spice in it. So it's not the worst, but I can see the controversy. But I thought it was okay.
I think the controversy came more that it was like a straight sugar bomb. Like it was
Yeah,
just syrup sugar, munchkin sugar, like pumpkin spice. It seemed like a little too much for me now, but I guarantee you, if I was in middle school and high school when I was really on my coffee wave, I'd have drank two a day easily.
yeah.
Easily. But I'm not really on the coffee wave right now, and I don't think they make a decaf one, so I'm good on that. But you thought it was good.
Yeah, I thought it was
But
good.
not,
It
not
was,
something you get again.
yeah, I probably wouldn't get it again. I liked it
Wow.
more than my sisters did. Let's put it that way.
Really? So the general
I'm,
consensus, do you know like what normally people think about it? Because I didn't really read about what people thought about the taste.
like it was low key really funny because like under where people were talking about it, a lot of them were saying that they were on the toilet, which like everyone who drank it was on the toilet, I'll admit. But
Wow.
besides that, it was just very sweet. And one thing that I don't like about drinks that are too sweet is that you can taste the syrup and the sugar
Yeah.
and all shit like that. I don't like
Yeah.
that.
Oh
But
yeah.
as far as like the ice things, like the putting ice in it and all that stuff, I like that addition to it. But
Yeah.
if not, if it was literally just a straight smoothie drink, I don't think I would have been able to drink it.
Right. Well, I mean, shout out to Ice Spice from the Bronx. So I gotta support no matter what. I gotta just buy one just to buy one, just to support, and then just give it to somebody. Just give. I'll mail you mine. You can have it. You can have it one more time. You gotta
Oh yeah.
support. You gotta support. So I thought it'd be fun because I found this article. Oh, I found a couple of articles about like pumpkin spice things that you didn't know you existed, or basically, is this taking pumpkin spice too far? Is what the real general thought about the article was. So you let me know. We'll decide if we think these things are taking it too far. If we would eat these, what do you think about it? So you said your favorite is the cake, and I think I'd have to probably agree and say
Yeah.
like a pumpkin spice cake. You can't beat this, but it has to have the icing. It has to have the icing on it.
It's like red velvet. It needs the icing.
And you know what Walmart has too? The Walmart the red velvet cake bites, which I have right over there, which I was eating at 3 a.m. last night. It's great. They're great. You got to get both.
Yes. So good.
So let's see. This is the first one. You let me know what you think about this if you would try this. Is pumpkin spice salmon. I don't know if you like fish. You like fish?
Oh, I don't like fish. I heard salmon killed it.
Oh, so just because it's fish alone, you wouldn't try it.
Yeah, no, no offense. Would you though?
I mean, I would try all of this. That's so. I think the question would be for me: do I think it would be good? I do not think so. I like salmon with some salt, and that's
Yes,
it. That's about it. I don't really like too much seasoning, so I think that would be way too much for me. But you never know what would surprise you. There's like some weird combos that you're like, "Whoa, I didn't expect that to be good." I don't think
exactly.
that's gonna be one of them, but you'll never know. If I ever seen that, I'm trying it though. All right, the next one was pumpkin spice chicken sausages. Definitely a no for me. I don't think that's
What
gonna be good.
does that mean? Chicken sausage.
Like sausage that's made of chicken instead of any other meat, like like pork or
Okay.
beef or something.
So I
says
don't
pumpkin
know.
spice flavor.
Hard
I
no.
don't think that's yeah. I mean, ugh. I don't think
Eat
that's
it.
gonna be
That
good.
I don't think that goes.
I try it though. I try it. I don't think it's gonna be
I
good.
would probably try
This one I
that.
think we could agree on. I think pumpkin spice butter spread, like spreadable butter.
Oh,
Right? I
absolutely.
don't think that's a bad idea.
No, not at all.
I was talking to some people. They're like, "Oh, that's probably gross." I'm like, "What? What are you
Not
talking about? It's gonna you put it on the bread. You put on anything you want. I don't think that could be bad at all."
no.
All right, this
That's
one is a little
cool.
crazy. I don't know if are you a cheese person?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, not many people are not. Pumpkin
Mm,
spice Gouda cheese. Ugh, I don't think.
I don't fucking know. That's tricky.
You
Because I'm
think it
trying
might
to,
be good?
I don't know because sweet cheese, like I'm not a fan of that. I like mozzarella and monster and like things like
Yeah,
so I feel I would try it, but not keep it. I don't think I'd
yeah.
eat that.
Mozzarella is my favorite too. That's my favorite one.
Good, I know.
I think that I honestly think that the two that we said before would be better than the oh no the I think the salmon and the chicken would be better than the cheese. I think the cheese is the worst one so
Why?
far.
Why do you think
I don't know.
that?
It's just like something. It's triggering me just thinking about it. I'm like, I can't even imagine eating that.
I
Ugh.
I can see it, but I feel like it would throw me off, like the sweetness.
Everything about it. Well, it's not even the sweetest. There's a spice to it. It's like you don't even know. Like I don't know.
Mm.
I think that would
Yeah,
be the worst. I think that would be the worst. This one is probably the oddest, and the one that makes no sense is pumpkin spice bird feed, like what you feed the birds.
well,
It's
that's up
like
to them. Do
it's
they
like
like it? I'm just
it's like
kidding.
yeah, like do they even know? Like does it matter to them? I think they eat anything. They eat like
Yeah, I feel like they'd eat anything, but at the same time, I know that animals do low key have like a taste preference. Like some of
do
them
they?
like my cats do, so that's how I think
What do they
that they
dislike and like?
like one of my cats doesn't like salty foods, but he loves sweets. If
Really?
in food and he'll try to eat it if he knows it's sweet. It's crazy. And then there's another cat that doesn't like sweets and only likes like pizza. If we had pizza, she'll try to eat it. It's like it's fucking weird, but it's I think it's real.
But is it pineapple pizza? We should eat the pineapple pizza.
Well, bro, it's pepperoni. Nah, the pineapple is unbeatable. I'm sorry to
It's the
whoever.
best. It's the best. The only thing I'm thinking about, like, so let's say you get this for the fall and you feed it to the birds for the month, and then you stop. Are they gonna be pissed off when you give them the regular thing? Like, what the fuck? Where's the pumpkin spice? They're gonna just like peck your eyes out next time they see you. They're gonna like give us the pumpkin spice back. You might
It's like
set yourself up for disaster with that.
exactly. You never know.
Last but not least, this one was actually, I mean, all these are real, but this one doesn't even seem real, but apparently it was in Canada. They made Kraft made pumpkin spice macaroni and cheese. So back with the cheese. I think that's going to be absolutely horrendous. I mean, but a lot of people are like, oh, yeah, like I want that. Like give me that. I think that's going to be gross.
It's a little tricky because I feel like some macaronis can be a little sweet. So I feel like I would try that over the cheese one.
I'm with you on that. I would
Yeah.
rather do that than just like a block of cheese.
Yeah, hell no.
No,
Mm-mm.
I'm with you on that. Did you ever try the Barbie pasta? I remember we were talking about that
Oh my God, no, I didn't
with the
try
beet
it.
and
I didn't
the.
try it.
You got it.
You have to make it yourself, right? I
Yeah, you just
can't
like put
remember.
it in a blender. For
Oh
those
my
that
God.
don't know, I tried a Barbie pasta that I had to make on the channel. So go check out how that was. It was like a pink pasta. It's very
Yes.
interesting.
Okay, bet. Yes, I remember that.
That was very, very interesting. But a lot of people thought it would be very, very gross. But you could see what I thought about it on the channel. So those are all of them. I think if I was gonna try, if I were to think I would like any of them the most, besides the butter, I would probably think the chicken sausage is the least worst of them all.
I think so too, because you can do things with that. Like you can heat it up and then put it on like a another sweet piece of bread, like
Yeah.
Hawaiian bread. I think that wouldn't be the worst, you
No,
know?
I think. Oh, see, the Hawaiian bread that would be good. That's a good idea. I didn't even think about that.
Sounds so good.
That's a good idea. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. So Halloween is a very, very scary time. A lot of scary things going on. There's ghosts, there's haunted houses, there's demons and stuff coming down because the veil between the living and the dead is thinner. But I think we could all agree that the scariest things that could be going on is what's going on in probably all of our heads sometimes. Because Electra, you made some videos recently, and it was very funny because I was literally thinking about these things while you were making these videos and while you put them out. You did some videos about overthinking, and if you're a loyal listener of the show, you already know that that's like my number one talent is overthinking. I can think about things in any kind of way you could imagine, any kind of scenario. But I thought it was cool how you broke it down. You did two videos. You did one about overthinking like yourself and overthinking your own thoughts and actions and how you are like, I don't know, appearing in the world. And then you did one about overthinking like scenarios and life in general. So I'd like for you to kind of talk about that a little bit because I thought it was very good. So talk a little bit about like overthinking your own, like just kind of overthinking yourself, because I know you said you've been through that before, right?
Thank you, by the way. But yeah, definitely. I made those two videos because I knew it was like it needed to be said first. I don't really know about what's it called? How do I say it? Basically, what who's gonna gravitate towards it in that way? Like I want it to be the most effective in terms of anyone who is experiencing overthinking or too much self-awareness, which is a very real thing.
That's what you said. Too much self awareness.
Yeah. Because honestly, like, let's be real. How many times do people overthink things that they don't even realize that they're overthinking? Because I've done it a million times before where you don't even realize that you're sitting there coming up with the whole plot case scenario for something that hasn't even one happened, two occur. Like the day, it's still today. You feel me? Like focus on what's going on today. Focus on yourself today. Focus on what you're doing right now. It's gotten to that point where even if I find myself overthinking something that I know is bringing me down, because that's usually how it goes. Like in the morning, you could be fine. And then by the nighttime, you'll feel like shit because you were overthinking so much throughout the day.
Oh no, I start
In
right in
that
the
moment,
morning, right? I start bright and early.
literally, like you start good as hell and then you end off on a bad note because you're thinking too hard about something that has nothing to do with you. So the whole case in point there, like the reason that I made that was again for like the self-awareness so that people know that they're doing it, but also because I know what it's like to send myself into a bunch of unnecessary spirals because I was thinking too hard. So I thought that that was like really a really important thing for people to understand that it doesn't have to be as hard as they think that it does, and that if they want things to be easier, that they just have to realize that it can be with their own permission. You get me? Because
Right.
it really is all about what it is that what you're doing for yourself and how far you want to go. Like you have to let yourself go, but not think about every single second of the process of you going. You get me?
Right.
So much
Like
shit.
a
But
general amount of self awareness is good, but not over self awareness. Like constantly thinking about what you're saying, what you're doing, if that was the right thing, if that was the wrong thing, just like all the time. So you've been through that, and then how did you stop doing that? Like how long did it take you to overcome that mindset?
okay, so to be completely honest, like when it comes to well, more like self-awareness, overthinking, I feel like that's been a more constant thing, but like self-awareness was always something that I didn't realize I was being too, like I said, self-aware. So during like my years, there would be moments where, let's say for like 1 year out of six, I would decide, okay, this year I'm not going to worry about anything. And then I wouldn't. But then as time goes on, it would almost be like something else would occur in my life. Like, let's say, for example, starting a new career or doing this, and it would almost like put me right back into this whole self, it's
Yeah,
almost like
because
I
it's like new
unlearned.
territory, so you're not used to it, so you just go back into your old habits.
Yes, exactly. Because, even like throughout my life, there'd be points where I felt like I would reach like milestones kind of where I'd be like, okay, now I know how to master my personal life. Now I know this. But then when everything like really, really started back up for me, where I started to overthink that much was when I started my career online and like doing everything that I'm doing now. And it's because
Really?
yeah, like you have to be like the job that I do that I want to do, which is like help like literally the entire world, that requires you to be out there. And that was something that terrified me for a very long time because I overthought. Like too much self-awareness was what I said right or wrong, what are people thinking, what if this, what if that. And then as time went on, I started to realize how unhappy I was because of so much self-awareness over things that just didn't matter. Because you think about other successful people and you realize that they don't do that. Like no one does that, because if they did that, they wouldn't be nearly as successful. Because anyone who is super successful, like truly within themselves, they're only going to be focusing on themselves, not on what Billy Bob and Joe is doing. They're just not going to care. So that's really like, I guess you could say the basis of where it came back, like how I overcame it. I just had to realize that I was hurting myself, that I wasn't happy truly, genuinely. That was like a really important thing because, I'm sure maybe you have even experienced in your own life where you think, okay, now I'm happy. Like now I found the reason and I'm good and everything's going to be fine. And then you realize that you're still overthinking that happiness. Like, what if something happens
Oh
and I lose
yeah,
it?
like oh, what if a
And
truck hits me right now?
yeah, what if
Anything. Yeah, it's too good to be true. Like everything feels too good to be true, right? That's what you mean. Like I'm happy right now, but something's gonna happen. Something's gonna ruin this.
and right there, you're literally casting a spell on yourself. Like you have to realize when you feel good, it's not a moment for you to like you can realize you feel good, but don't hold on to the moment of, okay, I feel so good right now. How can I keep this forever? Like
Right.
just like exactly
Yeah.
what you were doing to get there, keep on doing it. That's all you need to do. So yeah, I will say I went to when I went to New York recently, that was actually one of the last final like realizations, I guess you could say, just the things that kind of woke me up with that, where I realized I was like, I want to be as happy as I was in New York. And in order to be as happy as I was, that requires that I can't be thinking so fucking hard. Because when I was in New York, I wasn't thinking about shit. I was thinking about living the moment. I was noticed one of the biggest things that helped me about going to New York is realizing how no one gives a fuck. No one cares
Oh
about what you're
no.
doing.
No.
I've heard 8 million different conversations in the span of 2 minutes. Like, no one cares about you and no one cares about what the next person's doing.
Damn right.
People see shit all the damn time and no one cares. I love that everyone was just so focused on themselves.
Right.
And I want to be as happy as like everyone else here. So let me do the same thing that they're doing. Let me stop caring so much. Because someone coming from a different state, going to New York, they're gonna say, am I wearing the right thing? Am I saying the wrong thing? What if they hear me? What if they don't care? They don't give a fuck about you. So that was like really the biggest, I guess you could say, eye opener for me
Where you're
was,
from, is it a lot smaller? Like you deal with people like talking about each other? Is that what like where you're from? Is it like
I
a
would
real
say
smaller
like
community?
here where I'm from, it's very big in terms of location because I live like near Fort Lauderdale, Miami, that area. So there's always a bunch of people. But in terms of like I guess you could say it is a lot closer. There's a lot less places to go to like the store. In New York, there's like 8 different stores on one
Oh, yeah,
block. No
exactly.
one, yeah, everyone's gonna go to the same Walmart that's on the corner or the same store that's over here. And it's pretty funny because in New York, I'm pretty sure if you see one person, you're never gonna see him again. Here, it's no
It's a
guarantee that
shock if
you
you
won't
do.
see the person. Yeah,
You won't even
exactly.
remember them.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I love. And then here it's more of like there's a possibility that you will see the same car at least 3 times. You get what I'm
Right.
trying to say? Like it's not that people talk about each other more, but it's more of just that we're so close in proximity and it's too much for
Right.
people, I think.
Right. So when
Yeah.
you to rewind a little bit, when you first started your channel and your online career, and you said that was you were really overthinking yourself, and there was a lot of self awareness issues.
Yeah.
How did that affect your actual process of doing the work? Did it affect you negatively of like how you created stuff?
Yeah, actually, it affected me a lot, a lot, a lot. I think that one of the biggest reasons that I'm even as far as I am now is because I had to get my shit together, like within my mind. Because for a long time, I honestly think like the first about 2 years of like my online career, I feel like that was really preparing me. That was mainly what I think it was. Because even at that time, I feel like I didn't realize that I was being perceived by so many people, but in my head, I thought I wasn't, but in reality there was a lot more going on around me, so I had to get my shit together, in order to keep up with having such a big foundation around you where you're being perceived by so many people. You literally have to be on your shit. So even like at that time it would affect me negatively, but I remember that I kept going regardless. Like no matter how bad I
Exactly.
felt, I kept saying,
Exactly.
if I want to see progress, like literally can't stop now.
Hmm.
So yeah, I just had to keep on going, like despite how I felt, but I did feel like definitely.
How did it affect your creation when you finally said "fuck it"? Like, did you start making things faster? Did you stop editing as much? Like, what? How did your creative process change a little bit after that?
I would say like after, are you saying like more of when I started to get my shit together, or when
Yeah,
I
like
was?
yeah, when you finally started getting your shit together and you started to overcome that. did it help the creative process more? Did it make you feel more relaxed and like you stopped, like were there actual like tangible things you did or didn't do after that?
Okay, actually, yeah, there's a lot of things that did change once I realized that hurting myself so much wasn't doing anything productive for me. I just realized that I was wasting a lot of time. I felt like I was wasting time because it wasn't even like a comparison thing. It was more of like a realization where you look at other successful people and you realize that despite what is happening, they're not letting any of that stuff affect their work. Like just because they had a bad day doesn't mean they're not going to go and do the music video or whatever else. For example, like everyone's still going to get up and keep it going. So for me, like in terms of the creative process, I started to get more things done. I think I remember I not even get more things done because honestly, I kind of feel like my workload is still the same in terms of what I give out, but more of what it is I started to have a lot more confidence in it, a lot more happiness in it where I would go to edit and I'd be like, "Oh, I actually want to edit this video. Like I love what I'm saying." Back then I used to literally pick myself apart on purpose. Like I'd be like, "Oh, I shouldn't have said that," or maybe I said that to this, and like stupid shit that just didn't
Oh
matter.
yeah, I've been
So now
there.
it's a
Oh
lot more
yeah.
free flowing. Like,
Yeah.
girl, it's gonna be fine. They're gonna get you. And then that's it. And I don't know if it's actually funny you asked me this because I was thinking the other day about how on YouTube I used to I feel like it used to be a lot stricter. Even on TikTok, like I would cut out very like unimportant parts, but now I leave in more of who I am in it instead of like cropping it down to what I think people
Yeah.
will like. It doesn't matter what they'll like. You get me? It's about me.
Yeah.
So
No, yeah, I get that because I would go through that a lot in the first couple of years of the podcast, where I would edit a lot more than we barely edit now. Like so, I get that exact. I went through pretty much the same thing, you know.
that's
So I totally get it. Yeah,
yeah. You,
overthinking could be a total killer. And like I said, I was going through your video could not have come at a better time. I think it was a day before that I started overthinking like a whole situation, and it made me look like such an idiot. I looked like such a fool. Like it was so embarrassing. So it came at the perfect time. So if you
I'm
could
really
say one or two things like to somebody who's really stuck in that mindset, what would you say?
okay. For those who are like really, really stuck in this mindset, because I will tell you, like, if you are, it is no joke. I completely understand. It is so draining, but
Oh, it's
I will
draining.
tell,
It's
yeah,
exactly it's draining.
it's so fucking draining. It takes away from everything. But for those who are facing, I want you all to understand that you're the only person who can really let yourself flourish in the way that you're supposed to. Like, as long as you're dictating and micromanaging every little thing, you have to understand like you're not letting yourself live. You're not living in the moment. You're not having a good time. And then time goes on and you're going to look back and regret it. So just take it upon yourself to learn to just throw that shit out the window and worry about it when the day comes. Not saying don't pay your bills, but you get what I'm trying to say. Just live in the moment and just understand that everything is better than you think. And it
Yeah.
really is.
I mean, I don't
Yep.
know if you've had the same thing, but how many times on the subject of overthinking like everything and not more the self awareness aspect, but it could apply. Like, how many times have you really ruminated on something and then it turned out to be just fine or even better than you thought, or you were just like catastrophizing it, and it just makes me feel like an idiot when I do it again, and I'm like, bro, like how many times are we gonna go through this? Like, it
Yes.
was fine the 6,000 times that you've done this before. Why would it not be fine this time? And if it's not, there's been other times where things weren't fine and you figured it out, you handled it. Like, why do you got to be like that? You know? So I really been working on that lately.
I'm
So it's
glad.
very good that you put that video out. But when you're not like this, way more relaxing. It's way more fun to not be in your head all the time. I mean, it sounds like so obvious to say that, but when you really do it, you really like it's like a weight off of your body. It's like, wow, I feel really great right now. I'm not thinking about tomorrow or this stupid thing or that stupid thing, but in the moment, it feels so real, and it feels like it's that's the only thing you could think about.
Yes. It's like the good energy. Bro, I'm telling you, even because you see, it's literally just about what it is that you apply. Nothing even happened for me to, it's not like I got this really big thing. I just changed my mind and now everything is fine. That's it.
Yeah,
That's all it takes. And like you said, it's almost like how many times am I going to go over the same shit? Because it's really up to how much you allow it. It really is. As stubborn
exactly,
as I was, I know I allowed it for a very long time. But it's
exactly.
down. Yep.
So Tell me about, because I know you and I kind of agree on this. Same thing with pumpkin spice, is we don't really like to talk about very like a lot of good things that are going on, or pretty much everything. Like you and I agree that we don't really talk about like, oh, if we got something new or we're doing something new, because certain people can kind of put, I guess, the evil eye on it. And that video came up in like my recommended the other day, and I thought that was funny because I was thinking about that. So what do you think is the evil eye?
Okay, so to me, like what the evil eye represents is just, I guess you could say, malicious energy from somebody who maybe wants what you have or just feels like envious over you and jealous over you or whatever the case may be, but that they send out those energies to you to affect you in some way. Some people don't realize that they're doing it, not everyone does, but it is still a prevalent energy. Like everyone knows when they're being envious. It's not like a hidden feeling. You know when you're mad. You get me? So that's to me what the evil eye means.
Right. It's like people see it and then there's so much negative thoughts. And can that actually affect you, you think?
I think only if you allow it. Because I know that for me, I don't allow it. Like, I don't focus on it. I used to focus on it a bit more because I feel like I was dealing with it firsthand. But now, even if I do deal with it firsthand, I don't let myself sit there and be like, oh my God, they're evil eyeing me. I have to, like, I'm going to get fucked up. Like, I can't. So, but yeah, definitely. It's there.
Yeah. I don't know if I believe it affects you in that way, but I do just like to keep things private, so it's not even an option for the most part. Like
Exactly.
it's not even in their mind that, I like to surround myself for the most part with people who I know are happy for me. And you and I both had this talk before about, when you see other people kind of manifest or get what you want before you, and it's like you should be happy for that person for
Yeah,
sure, but not everybody thinks that way. A lot of people are like, oh, like why did they get it and I didn't get it? I was telling you this before, like before I got my apartment, I had a few friends get an apartment before me, and it was before I even knew, like I didn't even know what I was gonna do, and I was really happy for them because like, wow, like it's possible. That's the first thing you should think of. Okay, it's possible, not like, oh, well, it happened for them, so now it can't happen for me. That doesn't make any sense. If it happened for them, that means it can happen for you. You know what I mean?
exactly.
So I was never really like that, but I do like to keep things private because I mean, Spanish people, we kind of, I guess, do believe in that kind of energy can affect you in some type of way, especially how many times I've seen people go into like, like botanicas and really trying to do something dirty to somebody. So I try to keep my shit on the low just because of that. You know what I mean? Like,
I do. Yeah, especially with what you were saying. Everything that you said is exactly the same. I think that might be just a Capricorn thing because I know
right,
you also have Capricorn Mercury like me, so we think the same. But yeah, like the same thing. I don't tell people my business, not because I'm afraid of evil eye. I've just never ever done that ever. Like you get me? Like I just keep it
right.
to myself because I feel like it's for me. And then whatever else, like if anything else happens, if someone's mad or whatever, it's for their own purpose. Like you're mad because you're overthinking too hard about this, or you think that you can't and you're trying to compare. There's no comparison. So
Right.
that shit can't touch you without your permission.
Right. Yeah, I do believe in that for the most part, that it can't touch you without your permission. But I think in some cases, if somebody really wants to do something crazy, they
Yeah,
can. But you always got to remember that it will, in my opinion, always go back to that person at the end of the day.
I
That
agree.
whatever they do to you will go back.
I believe
So
so.
I was hearing about this a lot, and I believe in a lot of things. I believe in like ghosts and manifesting, but I'm not really sold on this one. I want to know what you think about telepathy and thought. What is it called? Thought. What is it?
Thought transmission.
Thought transmission. What do you think about that? Have you done that before?
Yeah, I think it's definitely real. I just think like it's not as exaggerated as like Professor X or something else like that. Like it might not be to that extent, but I do believe in it. And the reason that I do is because I feel like I've definitely done it a lot of times before with like people that are always close in proximity to me. That's what I realize. It's always with people that I'm mentally connecting to, not even like having a sibling around all the time. I'm talking about if I talk to that sibling and we just are on the same wavelength, that's usually where I'll think of something and then my sister, for example, will literally say the same shit right back to me, or I'll sing a lyric and she'll be like, oh my God, I was just singing that same lyric in my head and shit like that. So
So
I
telepathy is
definitely,
like you putting a thought into somebody else's head, right? Is that
yeah,
basically what it is?
it's more of, yeah, it's like communicating with people through your mind. But again, it's not as like I'm going to talk and then you're going to hear me. Sometimes I've have heard cases of people doing that. And that's more of like, I guess if you're really, really, really intending it. But from a general sense, yeah, basically it's like when you think of something, but you want like another person to pick up on it too, then you'll think like, for example, let's say you want a guy to bring you flowers or something and you really like him, you'll think like, oh, he's gonna bring me flowers. He's gonna bring me flowers. Like I'm putting flowers into his head. He's gonna get me
So
flowers.
then
And he shows.
it kind of on their end would be more like a hunch, not like, oh, I can hear this person telling me to do it.
Yeah, it's kind of like a feeling of like I really want to get Annabelle flowers or some
Yeah.
shit. You get me? Like something like that. And it's still, when the like for example, Annabelle meets the guy here, she'll be like, oh, like he heard me. He knew. Even
Yeah.
though he may not have heard her exactly,
Yeah,
but
he
he
doesn't
knew.
know, but it feels like kind of like an instinct thing for him to do. He doesn't really know that why he's doing it. He just thinks
Yeah.
it's his. It's like you make him think it's their idea, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's basically manifesting. Same
Manifesting a
thing.
thought in somebody else's head.
Exactly.
I gotta
Same
try
thing.
that. And I don't know. I don't know if I'm sold on that one. I mean, it's possible. I what I think is true though is when I've heard stories of twins doing it. That I can imagine. Like
Mhm.
when one twin is on the other end of the world and then the other twin is on the. I've seen that when I was like growing up, and they could like talk to each other. I can imagine them being so connected that they could do that. You know,
You could do that with another person. You just have to be connected. I feel to an extent.
I'm
That's
gonna
what I
try it.
think.
I'm gonna try it with Justin. I'm gonna see what he says. I'm gonna
You
see.
definitely could. You just gotta focus
That's
on
like my
it.
brother, so I think it could totally happen. I
It's
think
pretty
it.
cool.
So
I
people
want
use that a lot because I've always seen that with people when you talk about like dating and stuff. So that's really where people like use that.
That's more of like where people focus because that's where they want like their SO significant other to know more about whatever. But for me, I don't like really intentionally ever do it because I don't have a purpose to. But I remember when I used to intentionally do it, it would always work with the people that I was the closest to that I would want to try it out on. Like
Okay.
one of my friends or my sisters, like I was saying.
You should
Yeah.
try it on me. You should try it on me and see. I won't know. I won't know. Just see if you can try it on me.
That'd
Try
be
it on
so
me and see
fucking
what
cool.
happens.
Hell yeah. For after this, we can try that. That's
All
so
right,
cool.
try it. I'm dead. We'll have to. We'll share the results.
Okay, bet.
Yeah, with that, I think that'll be fun.
Will be fun.
So let's get to these movies. I've been dying to see. We're gonna talk about The Exorcist. We're gonna talk about The Elevator Game, which is another new horror movie that came out last month, and Electrasoul, The Nun 2, which we talked about. I don't know how many episodes ago, but now I want to know what you think about this because I know we were talking about that we were excited for that as well. So,
Yeah.
like I said, everybody is talking about The Exorcist. And man, is it not good. People are shitting all over this movie. I mean, almost everybody I know, everybody I've seen, I should say, hates this movie. Okay? But do we feel like that? You let me know, Electra. What did you think of The Exorcist Believer?
I actually really liked it. I won't lie. I know that like I don't know why. Actually, I haven't looked up reviews, so I don't know why people don't like it. I assume it's something that has to do with chronological or something. I don't know. Is it something like that?
It has to
Is
do
it
kind of with how I guess the series was before this, and how I guess the mood of the series and like the tone of the series. But I guess this didn't really live up to I guess the standards of the movies that came before it, and I think they did some things that they don't normally do, and they just took liberties with it. I guess.
That's what I heard. I think, yeah, because I think someone was talking about how this movie was too personal. They were like, this is too deep. Like, we don't need all the
Really?
info. And I get that, but I honestly liked it. Like, what I liked,
Wow.
can we speak on spoilers or no?
I think we're gonna do spoilers. Let's do spoilers. Let's do
Okay,
spoilers.
because I really like that they went so deep on their lives because I feel like it all correlated together. Like, at the beginning of the movie, when the mother died from the earthquake, I feel like the energy there, I never forgot that the baby was blessed since before she was born, and that initially I was like, she's probably going to survive this entire movie,
Right.
and then she did. You feel me? So I feel like it to me it was important. I feel like all the information was important. I really liked how it was super, what is it called, societally correct. I don't know how to say it. It was very open-minded, I guess you could say, like how it should be.
The different cultures, the different faiths coming into at the end.
I One thing that actually stuck out to me was that the black girl had a black doctor. I love that she
Oh
had a black.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, like I remember I was like, oh, I noticed like she has a black doctor. And then the other girl, I think she had like a Middle Eastern doctor. It was like nothing was how it normally is. You get what I'm trying to say? Like
yeah.
in society, like 10 years ago type thing. So I liked that a lot. I also I loved, I won't lie, like the possession parts, that stuff. That was like the most out of the three movies, The Nun, that one, and this, or the non-elevated game and the Exorcist. I will say that the Exorcist was the most it was the closest to an actual
It's
like
more
possession.
realistic. Yeah,
Yeah, the only things that were unrealistic was like the face morphing stuff, like and the spitting and like green gunk, all that.
yeah.
But besides that, what was actually happening was very realistic.
Right.
So I thought that was very
Yeah, I agree.
cool.
I think it wasn't. I've heard people say it was corny, but I didn't really agree with that. I think the one I didn't like is when she was like at the end spitting the stuff on the ceiling. I didn't like that when and then the stuff started spinning around. I think it was blood, right?
It
Was she
was
spitting blood on the ceiling or something?
like black gunk.
Yeah, okay,
Blood.
yeah, exactly. She started spitting on the ceiling. I was like, all right, now you're losing me a little bit here. But before that, I thought it was good because I think they didn't really do where they normally do. Okay, people are flying around and people are getting thrown around, and it's just like it's like an Avengers movie. I don't
Yeah.
think they really didn't do that until the end. And I thought they saved it perfectly till the end for them to go crazy like that. But all up until then, I think they did the possession scenes as well as they could have, which I think a
Yeah.
lot of people didn't. So what I heard was everybody liked the first half of the movie. That was good. That was solid. And then once they got to the other half, where the possession really started kicking in and the exorcism, everybody hated it. They didn't like the fact that they had multiple faiths doing an exorcism. They wanted it to be a regular, I guess like Catholic exorcism, straightforward. They didn't like the fact that the old woman came back from the first movie, and they didn't like what they did with her, which I thought was great.
I
I
was an
thought
sex for.
I thought her getting wrecked like that. That was my favorite part of the movie.
I feel like it was realistic.
Yeah.
Like
They were
that's
like,
how it
"Oh
would
no, it
be.
was corny," and then the fact they brought it back just to do that. Like, I get that because this guy is the same guy that ruined the last Halloween movie, so I can sympathize, I can empathize with people who didn't like this because I'm not an Exorcist fan. I like possession movies, but I don't like The Exorcist one. It's one of the like most boring movies I've ever seen in my life. So I can imagine that these people love this series and then they make this movie that's not like everything they've seen before, and it totally takes them out of the original concept of the movie, and they're just like, this wouldn't really happen in the Exorcist world that they've known and loved. You know what I mean? Same thing that happened with Halloween. So I can understand why people don't like it, but I had the exact opposite feeling. I thought the first half was okay. It was good. I liked it. But once the old woman walked into the room and got wrecked like that, I thought that's when the movie really kicked off for me. And I thought the exorcism was great. I thought the fact that they had all the different faiths come together, the root magic, I think the Baptist guy, the priest, and everybody came in to do this exorcism together. That was one of my favorite parts of the movie, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I won't lie. I actually really liked it. I think the first half was I thought it was kind of slow, like the
Yeah, it
first
was
half,
slow. Yeah.
very slow, but it was a good build up though, because you could see how much the dad actually cares, and even both parents, how they had their differences, but they both, it
At the
wasn't
end, they
like,
kind of came together.
they fall off. Like one parent, one set of parents is like, okay, whatever, but they both mutually cared a lot throughout the entire film. So I like that. Um, I also like I said, how realistic the possession part was. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna tell you right now, the only reason that they had as much trouble as they did is because none of the people in the room were 110% not afraid. The only one who wasn't afraid was the first woman, the older woman that ended up in the hospital. The
Yeah.
only reason, I know this might not even be part of the movie, but I think that the reason that the exorcist, that she attacked her like that, was because she knew that she was very
She was like the
powerful, and
strongest one. Yeah,
What'd you say?
because she was like the strongest one. The rest of them
Yeah.
kind of were a little iffy about it, And the first, I knew the thing about like they kind of let things be known early into the movie, and I thought I could see a lot of things coming. Like with the nurse, he was like, "Have you seen anything like this before?" And she was like, "No, I haven't seen anything like this." And I'm like, all right, she's totally gonna be like a nun, and she's gonna come out, and she's gonna be like a main part of the story later on. Like, I knew that was gonna happen. I knew, and then like, she's like, oh, like the baby, it's blessed, and then I was like, okay, so like you said, I was like, okay, well, she's definitely gonna survive the end of the movie. But what I really liked, and I don't understand how people didn't like the exorcism scene, was because when the demon made the parents think they had to pick between the kids, I thought that was great.
Yeah.
And then one of the dads, I'm not gonna give two spoilers, but one of the dads finally breaks, and I was like, "You're an idiot. You didn't understand the question at all, did you?"
Bro, he got manipulated. Like,
I was like,
no,
"What is wrong with you?"
no demon is ever going to say, pick me, and actually meaning, okay, if you pick me, I'm gonna let them
Let them live. I didn't think anybody took that way, and I was like, "This guy really? Come on, dude."
all contemplating for a second, remember?
Yeah.
That's why they were like, we can't
But then
choose.
when she's like, "Oh," when the little girl goes, "Oh, you wanna you didn't even want me to be alive in the first place."
yeah.
I'm like, oh my god! Like I didn't see that coming, because they didn't say that. They didn't say that he had to make the choice between the mom and the daughter. So when
And the
she
way he
said
picked
that,
out,
yeah, she was like, you picked my mother to live over me, and now like
Like-
yeah, don't bother picking me now. And I was like, honestly, she got a point. I mean, the movie should be over. Like, you didn't want her to be alive in the first place, so you might as well let her die now. I was like, wow. So I thought I didn't see that part coming though. They didn't really allude to that at all in the beginning, that he had to make the choice. I thought it was kind of just made because of the incident that happened. So I have basically the opposite review of everybody. I thought the second half was the way better half.
and I think this might just be me being biased because I've literally been through something like that. So it might just be me from my own personal experience. But like I said, I think it was very accurate in that sense of how it is. Like the way that the girl was acting, well, like the first night that she was back, was so fucking accurate. It wasn't, in terms of her just appearing places, no.
Yeah.
I felt like the way she was acting where she wasn't herself, and then it got increasingly worse.
Yeah.
That's how it acted.
I like the subtle build-up too. I like the subtle build-up. They didn't give. It wasn't too much build-up. Like it got a little slow, like you said, but it was all right. It wasn't that bad. But I think they did a very. It was realistic, like you said, to me.
Very.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. And it's actually funny because the one part when that lady, the nurse, when she's like, this is my destiny, my duty, and then she gets scared. Like
I was like, are you serious? It wasn't even that she got scared. That wasn't even the worst part. It was that the demon brought up something that she literally talked about with the guy an hour before. Like she already said it. So then the demon's like, oh yeah, remember when you did this and that? And she's like, oh my God, how could you say that? And I'm like, you've literally said it. And it's a demon. You didn't expect this? Like, that is what happens in literally every possession movie. From The Exorcist 1, whoever's doing the main exorcism, the demon's like, oh, remember when you did this thing like 10 years ago? And they're like, oh, how could you say that? How could you bring that up? It's like, of course it's going to happen. Like, that happens every time.
It does, exactly.
I was like, that sounds. I mean, for everybody that was saying like, it wasn't a proper exorcism. I mean, you got that because they do that in literally every Exorcist movie. They did it in the Pope's Exorcist when he comes into, oh, remember that girl you were banging before and then she died. It was like, okay, again with this, we're gonna bring up dirty laundry, and then she acts like she's all upset about it. So, how could you say that about me? It's like, it's a demon. Like, why are you? She's like about to faint. I'm like, come on. That was one part where I was like, I was in the theater and I was like, get real. Like I audibly said it.
So
I'm like, you didn't prepare for that at all? At all.
That is the funniest shit because you're so right. Like all that. And I'm trying to think if there's other part. I actually really love the cultural, like the mixture of like all the culture. It was all actually doing something.
Exactly.
Like,
when the chick she put like some kind of root or some kind of whatever into the fireplace, and the smoke from her smoke came out to combat the demonic smoke. I thought that was cool. I never seen anything like that. That's why I didn't understand. But this is what my friend was telling me who loves The Exorcist. She was like, it wasn't that was bad. It was just that if this was a movie that wasn't connected to the Exorcist series, it would have been fine. It's just that would not happen most likely in the Exorcist timeline. So, or in the Exorcist world, why would they put that in there? So it wasn't like it was a bad movie to some of these people. And some people said it was just really boring and really lame and whatever. But I personally think it was a 4.3 out of 5. It wasn't the greatest thing I ever seen. I got to watch them back to back. But I think Conjuring 2 is the best possession movie I've ever seen. I think it's the best demonic movie I've ever seen. I don't think it tops that.
Yeah, honestly, The Conjuring will always be my favorite series.
Right?
Yes, absolutely.
So I think a solid 4.3 out of 5 for me.
I think for me, I'm like trying to see it in my head. I feel like it's like a 4.7.
Okay. It's not a 5 out of 5 for you either.
Yeah, it's to me, I really liked it. But the one thing I didn't like I'm still thinking about is what happened to the other little girl.
Oh my God. I loved it and I hated it at the same time. I was like, yo, that is so fucked up, but that is so cool. Because it looked good. It made me feel really bad when I watched it. I was like, no. Because that's the other thing I said to them. I was to my friend who didn't like it. I'm like, you didn't like what happened to one of the girls? I was like, that was so cool. She's like, no, I hated that. That was so lame. I'm like, I've never seen that happen before.
That was crazy. Yeah, right?
I've never seen that happen in a possession movie. Like, you didn't think that was going to happen.
You're going to think, like, I'm going to just say a total side note. That is literally what can happen. Like, I know it sounds crazy, but this is how it is when you're possessed. Okay, there's like a whole demon in your body, and then your soul is still there. You're not dead. Like, they're just using you for a second. Right. But you still have a choice to survive or to die. You get me? And then if the spirit thinks it's stronger than you, which in the movie it did, it'll make the choice for you. Like, oh, I'm going to kill you now. And then boom. And then, yeah, basically what happens to that girl. It's like, it's similar.
I could not believe it. I thought it was so cool at the same time.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I felt so bad as well.
Yeah, I thought it was one of the best possession movies I've seen in a long time. It definitely might be top 5 for me, personally.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, I agree with you. I think it is top 5.
Very well done, but this is supposed to be a trilogy, so there's going to be 2 more apparently. But that might not happen because the reviews are bad, and I think the guy that made this, from what I read, may not be if they're going to make them, he might not be making them after this because he already fucked up Halloween and now he fucked this up. So I think they're going to be like, you got to go, which they should. Because, I mean, these people are really invested in these series. You can't be messing with them like that, I really feel for the people who was going into this being like, wow, I love The Exorcist, and I can't wait to see this. And I'm expecting an Exorcist movie. And that's what they didn't get. Because Halloween Ends was one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. So,
oh my God. My sister watched it. She said it was terrible.
She didn't like Halloween Ends?
No,
it was the worst. What happened?
That was the one from last year, right?
Yeah, I think was it last year? I don't know. I blocked it out of my mind when I tried. It's like trauma. It's too traumatic. I've only saw it one time. It was the worst movie I ever seen. Probably. It was so bad. It was so bad.
So funny.
You didn't see it?
No, I didn't see it.
Because you don't like killing movies, like serial killers, right? You just like the spiritual stuff.
Yeah.
Well, don't ever see it. Don't ever.
With the killing.
Yeah, so if this guy gets fired, I mean, I'm all for it because he fucked everything up. Okay? Happy Halloween. The Exorcist got fucked up. And I don't think they should do another one. I think this was perfect. Why do you need 2 more of these? Like
what else can happen? Just another family gets possessed?
That's it. I mean, I guess so, but then I don't even want to say what happened at the end. And I mean...
Yeah. It'll probably tie into that. I agree.
Yeah, there's some room there for them to do it, but 2 more? I don't know. I think you're dragging it a little bit now. I think you're dragging it. So that was a review of The Exorcist. See it. I think you should definitely see it, especially if you're not a big fan of the series. I think you may like it, but if you are, get ready because you'll probably hate it. The Elevator Game. I was so excited for this movie. I mean, I was so excited. I was looking forward to this so much when I heard it was coming out. I watched it the day that it dropped on Shudder. I kept refreshing the page for Shudder. I was like, at midnight, I was like, I can't wait. So, watched it day of. Elevator game, more like elevator lame. Wow, this movie was whack. Okay, it starts out like this movie should start out. I'm not gonna give too much away on this one. Girl goes in the elevator. She plays the game. I mean, if this is a spoiler, then I don't know what to tell you because this is what's gonna happen in the beginning of the movie. Okay, of the elevator game movie, she goes in, plays the game, a lot of tension, very good. The elevator demon comes out and kills her. All right, and I think that was good. I can't remember what the kill was specifically, but I was like, all right, this is good. I liked it. I liked the music. I liked the tension. I liked the acting so far. The intro was good. Then you find out, all right, now this movie's going to follow a group of college-age kids. They have like an internet show, and they play spooky games, and now they're going to play the elevator game. So I'm like, all right, here we go. Movie goes on. You find out, somebody who's the girl was related to one of the guys. The girl was related to one of the guys in the group. They go play the game. And I was like, all right. And just like an elevator, the movie went down and down and down. And then the second kill of the movie happened. And I was like, really? If there's one thing I hate, it's a telepathy killing. When they don't touch you, when they don't touch you, the guy's just floating in the air. I thought this movie just got worse and more boring with every minute. So much so that I was falling asleep for real. It is so rare that I fall asleep during the movie. I saw Boogeyman twice this year. Loved it. Every time I saw it, I was ready to go to sleep. For some reason, I watched it. Every time I was extremely tired and I never fell asleep, okay? This movie put me to... I could not have been in a better mood before this movie. And this shit put me to sleep. I mean, even when everything was popping off, they got the circle with the salt. The demon comes out. She goes through the guy's fucking neck. I'm like, boring. Oh my God. I don't even know what to say. It was just lame. It was just a lame movie. 2 out of 5. Definitely 2 out of 5 for this. What happened?
1.5 for me out of 5.
What'd you say? You cut out.
1.5. No, you're good.
1.5? Oh, so you agree?
Yeah, I didn't. No offense. It was I watched it and I remember I was like, am I watching a horror movie or is this just a fucking teen? I don't know. It felt like Halloween. Do you remember the Halloween Resurrection with Busta Rhymes in it?
Yes. Yeah, one of the worst.
Same, but this one was like way less.
Oh
tension.
yeah, it was way worse. It was boring, right?
One killing at the beginning, and then the next most entertaining one was at the end, like the end of the movie.
I like the one when I don't remember the one at the end because I was probably like in a dream state by then. But I like the one in the middle where the guy and the girl go, I guess because they left something in the elevator and she kills the guy first. Remember that one?
I do remember that.
I like that one. Yeah, which is the one at the end?
I'm trying to think. Okay, I know that in the middle it was that, but they didn't show anything, did they? No, the guy, the throat. She went through his throat.
The salt one. Yeah, I don't remember what happened when they were at the salt circle. And then this was the thing. So then the guy goes to the fucking red world, right? He's like, which let me make this point. The demon looked cool. I like the elevator game demon to me. Look cool. So he goes to the red world. He's looking for his sister. And listen, I don't know. I love all my friends. You go to the red world, I ain't going, okay? Because you're done. I'm not going to go chase nobody to the red world. You're done, all right? So he goes to the red world. They're like, no, don't do it. He's like, I have to do it. So he goes. The demon sees him. He's like, because it's an alternate reality, essentially. Like, it's like your world, but it's then evil. So he goes. He sees her in the middle of the street. She sees him. And she starts chasing him. She's like down the street. She's like right down the block. He goes back, hides behind the couch, and I mean, this is the longest scene ever. She never gets him. She was right down the fucking street.
Yeah, I didn't know
And
she
then
was playing.
then because he's waiting for the elevator. For those that didn't see, that's what he's waiting for the elevator. But then the other two are in there, so the elevator's coming up really slow. He's like, oh my god, like what are we gonna do? The elevator comes after 20 minutes. Okay, he goes in, and then she finally bangs on the door, and it's like, oh, he just made it. No, you didn't just make it. I mean, I don't know what she was doing. I think she was like killing the other people, but it's like you could have totally killed that guy. He was there forever. I was watching it like. You cannot be serious.
Oh, I was really confused because I thought that what happened with Chris, that was the first guy.
You
not
remember
the
names? Oh shit!
Yes, I just remember Chris because
I
he was
don't
a piece
remember
of
that.
shit. They all hate. I think that was his name. When he was the only person who you're funny. He was the only person who ended up dying that way. I thought that they were all gonna die because they were with him. You get me?
When
You
he
remember?
died, this the guy that got telepathy killed.
Yes.
Yeah, I
You know,
hated that.
the two others with him. I thought that they were all gonna end up dying in some mysterious way because they were in the elevator. Like I was confused why they only killed this one guy. Is it
Oh,
because
but she followed him to his house. They were. He
Yeah.
was in his own. He was in like a whole different building though.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
But you get what I'm trying to say? Like how I perceived it was, okay, these three kids are doing the elevator game. They're probably all cursed now. They're gonna
Because they play the game with him.
Yes.
Well,
So
I
then
think
one-
that she was gonna kill them, but then she was like killing them one by one. You know, because he was in a whole different place, and then they were like they were all separated at that point. You know, like
yes.
she was
So that's why
gonna do it.
I didn't know if they were just gonna end up self-combusting at home or some shit. Like I didn't. That's what I was waiting for. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, so these two people are gonna die, and then they didn't until the end. But it may have been because Chris didn't listen to the rules. Remember, he like opened his eyes and he was like, "Oh,
Oh
oops."
yeah, I think you watched this. When did you watch this?
I watched it on Saturday.
Okay, yeah. So
Saturday.
I watched it when it came, which was like a month ago. So I don't remember any of this shit.
Oh, you don't remember anything? Okay, that's why.
But I know as you're saying it though, it's coming back to. So I'm glad you. Oh yeah, I forgot. He opened his eyes, right, and then he broke the rule, and then they end up not finishing the game, right? So they mess it up, right? They do something wrong.
But they were still okay. They only died when they went back at the end. You get me?
And they go
So
back
that's why
because this guy. Why do they go back? Because this guy wants to go
they
back
were
for his
looking
sister.
Yes.
Oh
He,
Lord.
so he goes to the red room, that red world, whatever. Like you said,
No.
he went and then he got chased for like 20 minutes, and then he goes back at the end again with his friend to look for her or whatever, and then they all die. Bro, the kid with the salt ring. Why in the world would he be like,
Lame.
yeah, no, it's okay, she's fine. Like, bro, she's standing right fucking there. Like, I'm not taking my eyes off of her.
And he's
Do you
outside of
remember
the salt, right?
he
Or
was
is he
in
in
the
the-
salt,
was he in the
but
salt?
he kept like he was like, yeah, over here. Like, I was like, can you turn the fuck around?
And she
Because
fucked
that's
him
when she.
up. Yeah.
Oh my
That's
god.
that's exactly the point where I was falling asleep, and I'm like, if I'm falling asleep to like the most action of this movie's boring.
Yeah.
You know, like that's when the movie was at its peak action, and I'm just like, no.
Rated them.
I don't give a fuck. They were on the roof. They were talking about I don't know what. I'm like, what are they talking about now? I'm just like, what a letdown this movie
And even
was.
the drama, I didn't like the drama. It was unnecessary.
Yeah, that's what I was
like,
talking about. They were on the roof doing some
they're-
dramatic shit.
like it just didn't. It didn't make anything happen for me. Like I
No.
wasn't like, oh my god, he did this with his sister. Damn. Like
And then at the end, the lady goes in the elevator, and her hand turns into the demon hand. I was like, what does that mean? She didn't even start the game. That's not
No,
even a
she, like,
spoiler.
this, and then her hand went away, and it was like her
The
hand.
demon hand,
replaced.
right? But
Demon
but that
replaced.
lady didn't start the game.
Yeah, she was about to. That's what she was going to do, which I don't get why the demon would have attacked her if she didn't even fucking start. So
It's like the demon didn't even attack her. The demon turned into her hand. Like that's the even crazier part. Like demon didn't even do. It didn't make any sense at all.
it makes sense. I agree.
I was like, what I did like though was the backstory of the girl. They're like, oh, she was in the elevator shaft and the elevator. I did like that. I thought that was cool.
yeah, like interesting.
Yeah.
But then they just left it there. I honestly wish we would have saw what happened to her or something, because the red world was a world that existed. So where is she?
Yeah,
You
but
get
in the Red World was like literally like one block. Like they didn't even explore it in the whole movie. They just went for like 2 seconds. They went into the Red World for like a second, and then he just goes
yeah, for
back.
a second, this bitch was just vibing.
This would have been a great TV episode if you would have knocked this down to 40 minutes. It would have been great. You would have knocked it down to 40 minutes. Everything would have been more condensed. It would have flowed better. Not an hour and a half.
Making points because I'm thinking like those shows that have like a scary episode every episode. I
Yeah,
think
Twilight Zone, Goosebumps, Are You Afraid of the Dark? Something like something like that. Like, oh, we're gonna play the elevator game for 30 minutes. That makes sense,
yeah, because they obviously didn't have enough to build off of.
No, no. I mean, it's a great concept, but I was so excited that we were gonna get a movie about it because we talked about the elevator game on one of the shows. So I'm like, oh, it's one of my favorite like games, and just no. You gave it less. You gave it a 1.5.
Yeah, I would not watch that. And like it did nothing to me.
It did nothing. No, nothing. The beginning was it. Watch the beginning, and that's the movie. The beginning was cool.
You're not gonna get anywhere. That's what I want. I wanted to figure out a fucking mystery. Nothing happened.
No. I don't even remember like how did they even fix it? How did they even like get out of that?
They didn't. They ended up dying. I don't know if you knew that. You knew that though, right?
I knew it at one point. I don't know it now. I forgot. I forgot now.
They all ended up like dying in the elevator.
When the girl's hand turned to the demon head, said, "Get real." What does that even mean? Is she the demon? Like they just did that to be cool. They were just like, "Oh, what would be great if her hand turns into the demon head." Like, doesn't make any sense. She didn't even start the game. She was on the first floor still, I think.
We just threw some shit in there to give it for the end.
Skip it. Skip the movie. You're not gonna like it.
Why?
What'd you think about The Nun 2, though?
I actually really liked The Nun too. I liked it. I love the Conjuring series over it, but I think it's better than the first Nun. And I loved that they gave more backstory on Maurice. Like I loved seeing more about that because I don't know if that's the same guy that they included because I know that there was actually a case. I don't know if you remember from the first Conjuring.
That was it. Yeah, that was him.
They were in the room and they were like, "This is a demonic possession," and he ended up dying.
Yeah.
I don't know if this because I know The Nun is not based on any true story, so maybe it's just a spin-off of that person.
I think it is. It's the Maurice, right? It's him. I think it's him in the beginning of the first Conjuring, right? Where but
he died in that. Like he was possessed, he died, but in this movie, The Nun, he survived. So I was a little confused on
I think it takes place before that. Because remember, I don't know if you saw the end. They were like, "Oh, we got a problem."
Yes.
So this must be in between. Yeah. Because
I think. Sorry, I was gonna say I think that the next Conjuring, I'm so excited. I really hope it is, but I think that the next one's gonna be about Maurice. I think like about what happened in that case, because like at the beginning of the Conjuring, what they were showing was a case that they did.
Yeah.
You remember?
Yeah.
And that's where he died or whatever. So maybe they're gonna do a movie on that specific case.
I just saw the title for it. I gotta look at what the title was for that movie now, because I know it's coming out next year. I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Actually, I'm just fucking excited, honestly.
Yeah. So you liked the backstory on Maurice, right?
Yeah, I did. I did.
Okay.
I liked the what is it called? Vera's sister.
Oh, who plays Tessa.
I liked her. I feel like she was literally Vera, like Lorraine.
Right.
The same energy they gave me.
Right. I'm just looking up the name for the next Conjuring.
So you're fine. You're fine.
So what did you like the whole story of the movie? I mean, what little story there was?
Yeah, I liked, honestly, it was not that much of a story, I agree, but I do think that it was very how do you say it? I guess you could say it was accurate to an extent. I do think it was definitely dramatic. I mean, of course it was dramatized, it had to be, but honestly, their problem would have been solved if they just prayed from the start. Like, have you noticed that the only when they solved the issue was at the super end, then she was like, "Let's pray." Like, girl, the entire time I watched it with my mom, my sister, my boyfriend, and we all were like, if they just prayed when this whole thing happened, it would have been fine because they would have just had to call upon like the Holy Spirit and all the other stuff. But that's why the demon had so much fucking power. It's because they were letting it.
Did you like the
That's,
ending of the movie?
I liked are you talking about when everything was fine again
Like
or whatever?
how everything was resolved?
Yeah, I liked it. I just think that they could have resolved that like a long time ago. That's how I felt.
I like the ending of it, but I think I already said this on the show. When they tied Tessa's backstory to the saint, I said, "Oh God, why?"
Wait, which part
When they were like,
was that?
"Oh, she's a relative of the saint, and that's why she didn't. That's why she was protected. Like she was
Yeah.
related to." Her. I was like, "Oh, can you get any lamer? Like, can you
Oh, no.
did you have to do that? Like
Did she?
because they set it up where her friend, the nun." She's like, oh, if you come, you're gonna have to really boss up right now. So everybody, all of us thought like, all right, so at the end, she's gonna have to do something. Like the other nun, the new one, is gonna have to save the day, right? Like she's gonna have to go through some kind of big test at the end because she's like, oh, if you really don't believe, and she's like, well, if I see a miracle, then I'll do it. Then I really will believe. Which it happened to a certain extent, but you're like, all right, so she's gonna have to do something to save the day. And she literally was useless. Like, was a useless character.
Are you talking about which one? Which
The other nun that
character?
she meets before, that she goes on a train with her, she's like, oh, you're not supposed to be here. Her
Oh, her
friend.
friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Useless.
It was literally they were all there for like extra detail or some shit.
She was just there to get smacked around.
Oh, how did that girl survive? You know what I'm talking about? The one girl with the horns through her?
She did not. Did she survive?
No, she just kept
I don't think
running.
she's after she got like speared like that.
Yeah, she kept
Oh, I
running
didn't
with it.
notice that. I think that was one of my favorite parts of the movie when she got wrecked through the
Yeah, and I
door.
was like, damn, she's gonna die, and she didn't.
Yeah. Did you like
And then
the different incarnations of the nun and the demons that came out, like the goat and all this stuff?
yes.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, it was very cool. I thought it was very interesting and also historically. I just thought it was cool overall. Like I love seeing France and all this other stuff. But yeah, I guess you could say I feel like it could have been a little more eventful, maybe a little, but I feel like it was kind of spooky. I guess I just feel like there were some plot holes that could have been filled. Like
I think the action was the strongest part of the movie to me. Like I think there was a
I liked
lot.
it.
When
I
the
liked
chick goes in the room, when she goes into the room you're not supposed to go into, and then she
it.
gets wrecked by the kid, that was great.
That was fucking crazy. And
Yeah.
what about when the main girl got burned? Did she actually get burned, or is it like you said because she's a saint
Oh,
she didn't
that's
get?
what yeah, that's what it was because she was connected to the saint. Because
Oh,
they're like, oh, she's a descendant of Saint Mary or whatever, was Saint Lucy or something like that.
like what?
It was like,
Yeah,
yeah, and then because they were like, she the saint didn't get burned and that's in the beginning of the movie they said she didn't get burned. So then when the nun tries to burn Tessa, they're like, oh, she didn't get burned either. So she's like a relative of her, like her mother was part of the lineage. And I was like, oh God, like you could have seen that coming from a mile away. Like, did you have to do that?
that's so. You could say it was like very cliche at
Yeah, I
that
was like,
point.
you could have literally done anything else. You could have
Yeah,
made this. You could have had the other nun step up and do something cool because that's how you set it up in the beginning. Like, oh, you're gonna really have to, if you're not supposed to be here, so you're really gonna have to do something. And you're like, all right, she's gonna have to save the day at the end. Nope, she's like, oh, pray with me. She's like, oh, okay, that's it.
and that's yeah,
Yeah, like
literally like, like that was it.
everything before that, I think was really good though. I really enjoyed it.
I did too. I liked the wine part. Like it was like the
Yeah,
blood of Christ.
that I thought
And
was cool. Mm-hmm.
I thought that was cool how it defeated the nun. Yeah, I like things like that. I just think like it's so crazy because all this stuff, I know it seems so fake to the eyes of so many, but knowing that it's real, like you watch these things from a different perspective. It's
Right.
so crazy. Like it's more of like informational. That's how I don't take it as entertainment. I take it as like, okay, let's see what this movie's about. You feel
Right.
me? So I thought that that was cool. And I think The Exorcist was also very cool. The elevator game was garbo, no offense, but never watching that
What
again.
did you rate the nun?
The Nun out of five, I would say like a 4.5 out of five.
So you like The Exorcist more?
Yeah, I did. I think it was more, yeah, it was
Yeah, I
more,
would agree. The story is better. There's actually a story. I mean,
yeah,
I don't think the nun needed to have a big story though. To be honest, I think what we got was what was good. That,
It was enough for the
yeah,
series.
they're looking for the eyes, and I thought that was fine. We don't need every movie to have a big story involved. It's
I
like
was sorry. I was actually like, now that I'm thinking about it, can you clarify something for me about the eyes? Why
maybe
did the nun take, if you know, like, why did the nun take the eyes for? To destroy them?
it made her more powerful. Oh,
Why?
that was the
Who?
thing. That was the thing too. It was like, all right, so this movie's been out, so we're gonna just say it. We're gonna spoil it, I guess. But like, I think they were like, oh, don't let the demon get it because it's gonna make it more powerful, right? So in the beginning of the movie, the nun elevates a guy, which I give. This was what I give a pass. I usually say I don't like telepathy killings, but I did like this. She lifted him up in the air, set him on fire. That was great. Very powerful, right? So the nun is fucking people up, smacking people around the whole movie. Fine. Doesn't really do anything of substance that she did like in the beginning. She doesn't really flex like that again. Then she gets the eyes, and then it's like, all right, you're gonna literally do everything you've been doing. Like anything you didn't. She really didn't do anything new except spawn those other nuns. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
There was no.
she got the eyes and literally was not as was not that powerful. Like
It was still the same shit. I agree.
yeah, like I was expecting something crazy to happen. I was like, oh, here we go. It's about to get wild. And it was like, like nothing really. So that's why the nun ate him, because she's like, oh, I want to become more powerful.
No, like the fuck.
And it was not that much power was given, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was very intense, but it was also like I feel like more, like you said, more could have been added.
Yeah, I don't think it was that crazy. But I mean, it's not like I'm shitting on the movie, but I did like it. I liked it. I think I gave it like a 4 point. I gave it like 4 point something out of 5. Like it was like maybe a 4.3 or something like that. So maybe around the same as The Exorcist. But I did like The Exorcist more. I did like the story more. It's like two different types of movies to me. Not every movie needs to have a big story in the horror movie. I think The Nun is good because it's very simple. It's a demon. It's going to come out. It's going to kill people. That's what you need. But I like some movies like The Exorcist where there's a little more to it. You know what I mean?
I agree with you.
Everything has its place.
I agree. It's definitely up to preference.
Yeah.
Person.
I mean, you're not going to really care about this part, but for the people that do, I did see the new Totally Killer movie, which was like a slasher movie. There's a serial killer out there, kills this chick's mom, and she has to go back in time because the serial killer killed her friends, the mom's friends, years ago. And she wants to go back in time to stop not only her mom from getting killed, but all her other friends from getting killed. It's straight to Amazon, and I thought it was pretty fun. I thought it was a fun movie. I like those movies with the killer with the mask and he's killing the teenagers. One of my favorite types of movies is it was funny, and I think you guys should definitely go check it out. I think it was good. It was a funny movie, some good kills, nothing spectacular, but you're definitely going to enjoy it. So go check out Totally Killer. So I'm glad you guys. Then the Conjuring is going to be called Conjuring Last Rites. That's the one. Rites. Yeah, Last Rites. I don't know what this one's based off of because they're usually based off a real event.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Maybe it's going to be on the Maurice case. Maybe we'll see.
I don't think that one was real.
What happened?
I don't think that one was real. I think they made them up.
Sorry to interrupt you. I'll say the one in the video. Okay, the beginning of The Conjuring. Like the video, I'm pretty sure that was a real case that they did.
Oh, really? I haven't seen that in like the original. I haven't seen the first Conjuring in so long that I don't remember.
Wait a second. I think that was. Did they already do a movie on the Amityville horror? No, right?
Not. Well, they made tons of those. Yeah, they made tons of Amityville movies, and I think they showed Amityville in the beginning of 1 or 2 of The Conjuring. They already touched on it.
Okay, the reason I asked is because I know that possession with that guy in the video, that was in real life, that was Lorraine Warren's like the scariest case that she ever did. Like that one was the one that's terrified her.
Okay.
So maybe the next movie will be, but I don't know. We'll see. But
I don't remember I wish I remember because they show it during the lecture, right?
Yeah. Let me see if I could pull up a video for you really quick.
Yeah, let's see what this is.
Yeah, you definitely know.
I almost touched my face just now. That would have been a wreck.
God, right? I've been looking at him like it's not dripping.
No, this is some good face paint here. For those that can't see, I got my face painted today in honor of Halloween, of course. You know, we do it big all month long. We got some more special Halloween things coming up. And me and Electra and I just talked about doing the Halloween special, which actually, funnily enough, this year, I think this is the first year the episode will be out on Halloween. So that is going to be fun. So we're not going to film it on Halloween, but it will be coming out on Halloween. I think in the 4 years we've done this show, which is crazy to say, it's going to be the first time that we ever do it on Halloween. How long have you been on YouTube again? I've asked you probably so many times.
I forget every time. I've been on YouTube like consistently at the beginning of 2021.
So that's
the beginning of 20.
Now I'm gonna ask somebody else who's gonna be on the show this, but we've been doing it for 4 years, and it comes to my mind like how, you know, you have like different eras of what you're doing. In my opinion, different eras of the show. Things change as you go on. Is there anything that you kind of miss, or anything that you kind of look back on fondly about when you first started your channel, when you first started your YouTube journey? Anything that's different now that you're like, but when I first started, I do remember that. Like I kind of missed that aspect of being new to the game.
That's a great question. I think if I'm being honest, I honestly don't miss anything from back then. I think now is way better, only because of my mindset. But I think if anything, I'll say that I'm thankful that I'm past how much I would overthink at that point. So nothing that I honestly say I would miss, but I think the only thing that I do miss is kind of how I remember back then what I talk about now was a lot less saturated. Like I feel like now a lot of people make a lot of the same kind of videos, but you know, everyone is different. So I will be honest, I feel like some people truly do understand, and then some people don't really understand, but they're still giving out what they think, kind of thing. So,
I can imagine. I can imagine, because manifestations become such a big part of YouTube. Same thing with podcasting, same thing with anything else, that when it becomes a thing, people go, I'm just going to get on the bandwagon. I'm just going to get on this. So I can imagine there's people that basically watch other manifestation videos and go, I'm just going to literally copy this shit, and I'm just going to make my own. You know what I mean? I can imagine that.
Yeah, especially because manifestation is it's like you said, it's such a big topic that everyone's fucking watching them, especially the people who desperately want what they want. So they'll watch like anybody, and then, you know, it's like oversaturated. So in a way, that's the only thing I would miss, but even then I'm okay with it, because I know what I'm talking about, so I don't really care.
So when you first started, there wasn't that much manifestation talk on YouTube in 2021?
There was, but it was like law of attraction based stuff. I'm like law of assumption. Now law of assumption is fucking everywhere and its mama, so now it's a little different.
Yeah.
But back then when I first started, it was literally like Sammy Ingram, which is she's like the one who really put everyone on to the new age of law of assumption, even though there's Neville Goddard and other people like that. She like brought it back up, and then after that I was really inspired, and I was like, oh, like I want to make videos to help people as well. So then I did that, and then from there it kind of just like continued on and on and on.
Got it.
Yeah, that's how I saw it.
It was an interesting question, because I was thinking about it myself, like how things change, seeing it in on the camera, like how we've changed, just how we look, what we talk about. And I was thinking about how like we started the podcast, what it was like being at that time. Like you say, I don't miss most of that time, because it was actually not a really good time when we started the show. But the one thing I will say is the group, because it was the pandemic, we had nothing going on, basically. Like none of us had anything going on. So we were a lot closer at that. I mean, we're still close in terms of how much we love each other, but we talked so much because we had all the time in the world to talk. You know what I mean? So, I mean, there would be times where we would be on FaceTime, at least like there was 1 or 2 times where we did 24 hours just straight on FaceTime, just because, you know, we grew up together, and it just happened that way. So to answer my own question, I think that's the one thing I will say that's different, that I kind of miss about first starting out, was we were more together other than being on the show, I think.
Oh, I got you.
Like we would hang out a lot more. Not that we don't hang out. I mean, one of the guys was just here the other day, and he lives down the street, but it was just like a different time. You know what I mean? Like we were really all very close together virtually, like pretty much all the time.
I got you. So there was like a lot more. Yeah, that makes sense. So I could see why you would miss that. But I mean, would you say that now that you guys are not closer, but I guess you guys understand each other better now, if that makes
We've
sense?
always I think we've understood it, we understand each other like maybe more about each other. Like we didn't know certain things about each other, but the closeness has been there from the beginning. I don't think it made us closer in terms of how we feel about each other. We know more about each other, but we've always been so tight because we all knew each other since we were like 13 to 16 or
Oh, that's right.
even like 11.
I remember
So
you told me that
yeah,
before.
you really can't get much closer, but we did like, oh, I didn't know that about you, or I didn't know that, and then we would just build like new memories because we would be around each other so much. You know what I mean? At that time. So that's one
Well,
thing I kind of do miss about that time is like the pandemic. Everybody was locked in.
like
So
the environment was different.
exactly. So not saying this is worse or that's better. It's just something different that I look back on fondly. That was kind of my question. You know?
True. That's really cool. Yeah, I completely understand that. And I feel like I would probably feel the same if I had like something like that for me at that like that time, but yeah,
Well, now
this
that you
from like
say,
my
what was that time like for you? Because that was you were started after the pandemic, right? Because that was
I
2020.
started yeah, I that's when I really in 2021 is YouTube. I remember the end of 2020 was TikTok, and then from there was like whatever else. But the way and I also had my Instagram since the beginning, the ending of 2019. So I already had an Instagram before that I deleted like years ago, but this one was dedicated to like Electrasoul. So then
Mm-hmm.
from there it also built up. But to answer your question, wait, what did you ask me?
Like, what
Sorry,
was the
just
pandemic like for you? What was
the
lockdown like?
pandemic.
Yeah, what was that like for you?
Honestly, it wasn't as bad as like a lot of people felt like it was for them. You know, like for me, I honestly was just like, okay, well, I gotta keep living in the moment, doing what I gotta do type shit. If I'm being honest, it kind of felt like well, at least like the first 2 weeks of the pandemic felt like, when, well, you don't know because you don't live in Florida, but in Florida, when there's a hurricane, there won't be school for like a week. And everyone, like, even though you're trapped in your home, everyone's lit because we're like, oh, let's have a hurricane party, like, just chill
Yeah,
at home, watch shit or whatever. So it was like similar like that to me, but I did remember thinking that I was gonna make the most of it. I was like, I'm gonna have fun, like
right from the
whatever.
beginning.
Yeah, so it was fine. I actually enjoyed it. I was sewing a lot and I was eating a lot of ice cream and just shit like
Oh, I didn't
that.
know you
So,
sewed.
what'd you say?
You sew?
Yeah,
I didn't know that. Do you have anything you could show us? Like, what do you exactly? You sew like clothes, I'm sure, right?
like my outfits on Instagram. You'll probably
Really?
just yeah, a lot of
No
them I
shit. How
sew
long
them
have you
like
been sewing for?
literally since the pandemic. No, yeah, like since the pandemic. I'm trying to think if it was at the beginning. It was because my mom was showing me how to do it, and
Oh,
then
so
I
you learned
never
from your
stopped.
mom.
Yeah,
Okay, so what have you sew like clothes? Like what kind of clothes for the most
yeah, so
part?
basically I just grab like any fabric that's like extra, like even a t-shirt if I like what's on the t-shirt. Let's say for example, if there's a what is it called? Tie-dye kind of shirt, I'll get the idea in my head of how I want the thing to be and then I'll literally sew accordingly. If I'm being honest, I don't use any measuring tapes, I don't use any measurements, nothing. I
It's the
just do
best way
what
to do it.
I can. It just
Yeah.
won't work.
Those are
I
the best cooks I know are like they say the same thing. That when I ask my mom like, well, how do I make this? Like, what do I need in terms of measurements? She's like, I don't know about measurements. You just gotta do. You just gotta feel it. Like I don't know.
right?
Those, but always the best people say that. Like I don't know. I just feel it out.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, that's what I do. I love doing that, like sewing all that stuff because I can to me, I'll make an outfit for myself out of literally anything. You just give me a
Really,
fabric. Yeah,
that's tight. I didn't know that.
thank you.
Wow, that's cool. So the pandemic wasn't too, and in Florida wasn't really locked down like that.
In Florida, people did not give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like
So you really nothing really changed for you.
yeah, nothing changed. Only for the people who actually cared, like that were
Right.
like taking precautionary stuff, which my family, I was doing that. I wasn't trying to mess around because I didn't know what the hell was going on. But
Yeah.
yeah, there was a lot of people who didn't care,
Yeah.
unfortunately, but whatever.
Well, the good thing about being in that part of New York at the time when New York City was a lot of stuff was still open like 24 hours. A lot of stuff did shut down. But being in New York, I still did have the stuff was open 24 hours, so I didn't have to go places at peak time when everybody was around, you know what I mean? Like I could still kind of evade seeing people too much. So
Yeah,
that was the blessing a bit, at least where I was. I didn't have to like kind of interact with that many people. I would like go get food. yeah, like in the middle of the night, just take my bike and go see like the halal guy, go to this shop and stuff. So I really kind of evaded too much interaction with people. So it was
I got
cool. Yeah.
That's cool, especially in New York because you always have to like be surrounded by people or whatever.
Yeah,
And
and we had
actually,
Uber Eats and DoorDash. I'm sure you were doing that like tons of times, right?
did I? No, I didn't. We were
Really?
cooking a lot.
Oh, you were
Yeah.
doing. Oh, you were cooking.
And I also still worked. I was working at an animal hospital, and even then, like they weren't, you know how jobs were. They weren't trying to let everyone off. So
Okay.
I would still go there with a mask and shit, and they would a lot of times give us like food. I don't know if it
Oh,
was out of
nice.
guilt or because they were like, let's just do this, but they were giving us like meals often, and
Good
I was
for
like, okay,
you. That
eat
works
this.
out for you. That's nice.
Thank
That's
you.
nice.
That's funny.
So
But
did you
yeah.
see the ending? Did you find the clip?
Oh yeah, I did. Do you
Okay,
want
yeah,
to
let's
see
see.
it?
Yeah, because I don't remember
Okay.
this.
Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, so in the movie, they show. Do you remember the overall?
It was the witch house, right?
No, this is like at the okay, the beginning of the first Conjuring. It was when they went to the witch house. Yes, yes. But when they were showing the lecture, it was when the mom of the family was like, "Oh my God, like I think I'm being possessed." So then she went to go learn about it.
Oh, okay. I don't remember
Yeah,
that.
remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Okay. Well, here, let me skip
I
to
haven't seen
it.
it in so long.
Yeah.
I always watch the
So
second one, but I never really watched the first one that much, which I should.
you see you see me.
I was about to say I see my
Okay.
reflection in that.
Yeah.
Had nothing more than a third grade education, yet after he was possessed, he spoke some of the best Latin I'd ever
Shit.
heard.
There you
Sometimes
go.
backwards.
That
Been molested
possession.
by his father, who had also tortured him repeatedly.
Oh,
You remember that?
Dark
no,
spirit.
I don't remember this.
Now, if you look into his eyes, you can see him tearing blood.
So that's not Maurice. That's a whole different guy.
They say that that's Maurice. I'm pretty sure
Or is that Maurice?
that's Maurice.
Okay.
I don't think it's the same actor or whatever. But yeah, I'm a little confused here. Let me do like my proper research right now. But I mean, honestly speaking though, whatever the next Conjuring is, I know it's gonna be fucking entertaining as it always is.
Hell yeah.
But
I thought the last one slacked a little bit.
the devil made me do
I
it.
thought it was a little long.
I will
thought they
say
got a
I did
little
think that was
crazy.
my least favorite one out of all of them.
It started really good though,
Mm-hmm.
but then I
I
was
like the
like,
build up,
they go underground, and I'm like, all right, let's wrap this up.
like
We're
a
in
whole
the
bunch
we're,
of different
yeah,
shit.
we're in the tunnels now. The lady's cursing people. I was like, all right, let's speed this up now.
But keep it where we were, type
Right,
shit.
exactly.
See, because
So
Go ahead, go ahead.
look forward to the Halloween special with Electra and I coming on Halloween. It doesn't get much better than that. Electra, do you have anything you want to say before we head out of here?
Just want to say thank y'all for watching. We always have a lot of fun when y'all are here, and we intend that you learn nothing but the best from us and everything that we got going on. What we talk about, entertainment, everything. But
Right.
yeah,
Learn from Electra. Don't learn from me. Learn from Electra. I got nothing to teach you. I got nothing for you. I ain't got nothing for you except to tell you that if you're on YouTube, you know you can keep us in your pocket and take us around on Spotify and iTunes and all the podcast platforms and vice versa. If you're on those and you want to see our beautiful faces, you could go on YouTube and check us out on the Gritty Knows Best YouTube and check out Electra. Plug all your stuff.
Yep, I'm Electrasoul 444. If anyone DMs you, because a lot of people have been talking about
I mean,
DMs.
every week I get followed by a fake you. Every week. I'm about to shut my account down.
Oh my God, so many people tell me about it, and it's like I feel bad, but they won't stop. Whatever. That I'm Electrasoul 444. I'm Electrasoul, just Electrasoul.
Not a
and then
zero. There's not an underscore. It's not 44444. You got to make sure it's the right one, okay?
Electrasoul 444. And if it's 44444, it's not me. If it's 333, it's not me. 8812, not me. Love you guys.
That's right. Well, you know you're doing something right when people try to copy you, you know?
Gosh, tell me about it. But thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. Peace and love. See you next time.